Sit on the 40 acres on campus grounds. We gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they're the talk of the town. High cast sales of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories, from touchdowns to heartbreakers. We discuss it all, Texas Longhorns glory. There we gather round each Thursday night, talking sports, it's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Harry, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams you might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
Ooh, man, Elon Musk. Hey, if you're watching this, which you're not because you suck at your job, fix your damn website. Honestly, Jesus Christ, dude, I've never seen a buggier website than X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it. Fix it.
Call it X, because Twitter was not buggy at all.
This is embarrassing, man. This platform sucks.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, what's up, guys? It's game week. What's up? We are here. We're a little late. Had some technical difficulties. We got a lot to get to, and real meaningful college football starts in an actually technically started a week ago. Week 1 starts in 55 minutes. So
Yeah.
we're gonna try to cram as much as we can in the next 55 minutes, but we've got so much to talk about, and we might go longer. And if we do, you're gonna miss Notre Dame, North Dakota State's first touchdown. That's okay.
Thanks.
But anyway, Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. It's your boy Harish, my boy Tim Wayne. Tim Wayne, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well, man. Ready to go. Ready to get it. I'm excited. I'm also very nervous. So that's
for?
I mean, during like football season, I get nervous as if I played at a major college, which I didn't. So you know
That's
how
fair.
that-
It dictates your life. That's fair. I mean, I feel the same way. I get nervous. I get mad. I get upset.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It impacts your. It definitely impacts your mood, right?
Yes, absolutely, 1000%.
No, I feel you on that one. And yeah, I don't know how to feel about football season. I get. I don't want to say I get jitteries, but I get jitters. But I get really excited, and then I get really nervous.
Yeah.
And then I get very anxious. I kind of get everything, right? So
You get a feel of everything because you want your team to do good. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And
Yep.
so, like, you want to see what these new guys have to offer. Like, we've seen the sprinkles of it, like, throughout, like, the practices, and we've seen, the scrimmages and the orange and white game. So we've seen that. So we know what they can do. We also have college football 25 back. So, like, with that being said, like, you play with Texas, like, you get to see all of the speed and how they've been evaluated through a video game company, and how, like, they look really good on the video game. And so, like, that all, like, just amps it up, right? You see all these previews, your Josh Page of the world, your Joel Klatz of the world, your On3 Sports, like, how they talk highly of Texas. And so that even, like, it brings it up even higher. So now you're not only your fandom comes into play, but then your expectations come into play. Then you hear about these other schools that you like, you see lesser talent, but they talk more highly of these guys. I could throw Colorado out there. I know that they love Shedeur Sanders. I have no problem with Shedeur Sanders, me personally, but Shedeur Sanders is not the entire team. There's more than one thing. There's more than one person that makes that team. And when you start talking about stuff like that, like, it drives me absolutely nuts. Like, that Shedeur Sanders is going to put this entire team on his back when he got knocked on his butt 52 times last year.
Yeah. Listen, I think Shedeur Sanders is good.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's really good. He's
We're
definitely
going to
not
see tonight, because
definitely not elite. I would not, like, people like make this man to be like the savior of Colorado, like he's like Andrew Luck or something. And I'm just like, dude, he is not that. He is not a generational talent. He's not even half a generational talent. He's a very good player.
He's a very, very good player
who has a very famous dad who was a generational talent.
Right.
And I think the way that those expectations kind of play into what they expect of him. Listen, if you're expecting Shedeur to go into the Big 12 and win the Big 12 or get to the Big 12 title game, you've got to temper your expectations.
They're predicted to finish 11th out of the 12.
Yeah, they're not that much better than they were last year, right? They were what, 4-8 last year? Yeah, they were 4-8 last year.
4-8, yeah.
Bad Pac-12. Now, granted, they had some tough matchups, right? They had to play Ohio State. They had to play Washington, who's really good. They had to play Arizona, who's really good. Well, guess what? They had to play Arizona again, who's even better. They had to play Utah again, who's even better. They had they've got to play a couple of schools that they couldn't beat last. They got boat raced by last year.
Right.
They had to play a very good Oregon team. They sure they're gonna have to play a very good Oklahoma State team. They have to play a very good, what should be a good Texas. I mean, since we're here in the spirit, because I'm in the spirit of trash talking. Give me a second.
While you're doing that, let me go in on the simple fact that like North Dakota State is not gonna be a breeze.
No, it's
They're not gonna be.
CS schools that are really good.
Are they the North Dakota States of 2017, 2018? No, but these guys, just like Colorado has had to hear this all year long about Shedeur Sanders, about Colorado, about Deion is the ultimate hype machine, right? Like to me, him, like Michael Irvin, those guys are like really good at getting the fan base's hype. And when you have people like that, when you have those like influential guys or those big time guys, to talk the team up, of course, like people are going to flock to that. These are magnetic personalities. Deion Sanders has a magnetic personality. I guarantee you, if I was sitting there as a kid, as a junior, and a top recruit in the country, and I'm sitting in front of Deion, like he's gonna get me. And you know how I know? Because he's gonna get my mom. He's gonna go after my mom. He's gonna talk the talk. He's gonna tell me, hey, you're gonna get in here. You're not gonna be guaranteed a starting position, but you're gonna get in here, you're gonna compete. And that is what your parents want to hear. That's what you should want to hear, like off rip. Like you should not, you should want to compete for your spot. You should want to be able to prove to your guys on that team that you are who you think you are, and you should be given the opportunity to compete. And so when you got that type of guy behind you, that type of guy in front of you as your head coach, like things get a little nuts. Maybe your head gets a little big. Maybe it gets a little too big. You know what I'm saying? But in the end, it's all fun and games. It's all football. I'm excited about it. I'm excited just to watch the game. Last week was a crazy way to open up the season with Florida State losing to Georgia Tech in the manner that they did. DJ Uiagalelei, man, dude, you got some real work to do. Now, Florida State's number one receiver was down. He did not play. However, I had never seen anything like that. That's almost on some like Appalachian State, Michigan type stuff, man, where like they did not look good. Did you happen to catch that?
It was that severe, but they did.
They were ranked. Some people had them in the college football playoff.
Oh, Florida State?
Yeah,
of course they did. Because again, it's all names to places, right?
Right.
If you really look at it, the first thing that, and I'm going to be honest with you, I thought DJ was going to work out too. I still think it might, but I'm less hopeful now than I was back in January, February when he transferred. Right. Let me tell you why. If you look at this offense last year, it was a very pass-heavy offense. Right. Mike Norvell is a pass-heavy coach. The team we see on Saturday, Colorado State, his brother, very pass-heavy. They've got a very good receiver that this secondary is going to be tested on.
Right.
DJ is not that type of quarterback. He cannot throw the ball. He didn't throw well at Clemson. Yeah, it was very evident at Clemson. Did not work. Very evident last year at Oregon State. It did not work. And it's evident again here in Florida State. I get it's been a game, right? But it's a game against not very well. Actually, no. Because I think Georgia Tech is better than people say they are.
Yeah.
That's going to be a team that's going to challenge a lot of teams in the ACC, and they should keep an eye out. So, DJU just doesn't fit the system, right? If we're talking about this is what the system is, he just does not fit the mold. And it felt like Mike Norvell has had to change his scheme to match the quarterback, and not the quarterback hasn't been able to match the scheme, if you will.
Well, what is DJU's scheme? Like, what do you do?
He's a run first quarterback. So, like, honestly, if DJ was in like an option offense,
RPOs,
RPOs,
no pass
option,
options. Okay,
quick pass, don't give him the opportunity to have to read a defense, one read and go. Like,
yeah,
that's the type of quarterback DJU is.
right.
He's not accurate. He can't throw under pressure.
No.
He cannot throw on the run.
No.
He is not that type of quarterback. And if you know that going in, you'll be fine. If you don't know that going in, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. There was a lot of high hopes for Florida State. I'm not writing them off, but I am writing them off because it's just like you had an opportunity to make a statement, and you didn't, and you were the only major game. Speaking of that, Nevada almost knocks off SMU. That game was really, really good. That listen, there's a lot of University of Texas up there in Nevada. We had Savion. He didn't score. But he was still in the game. What's the coach's name? I forget. I don't know how to say it. Say it.
Jeff Choate. Yep.
Jeff Choate. Former Texas staff member as well. Going out there. Listen, that was a good ball game. I think SMU went up there and thought that was going to be like a walk-off, easy game, that they might get a lead and the team would fall, but it happened to be the other way around. But SMU showed restraint, came back, won 29-24. I'm sorry, 29-20. Yeah, 29-24. They scored late in the fourth quarter, and they were able to pull out that win. So major props to them. Major props to SMU. Listen, SMU is in the ACC now.
Yeah. Yes.
SMU.
It's really funny. A lot of former Texas guy there, right? Keaton Crawford.
Right. I forgot about Keaton
Crawford. Christopher Ross, Kai Woods, running back for Nevada, was transferred to Texas from Texas. So some Texas guys there, right? Keaton Crawford got dusted a lot in that game. and he's part of the reason why our secondary was so ass last year.
Right.
Christopher Ross didn't play a lot because he couldn't stay trouble off the field, and was constantly on Sark's bad side. And then of course you got Savion. Look, Savion Red is essentially what we brought in the transfer to be, right? He's just a guy that fills in. He might play every now and then, and it's kind of the same thing on a rebuilding Nevada team. So it's it's a young team that he has there. I thought they played very well, honestly. I really like their quarterback, Anthony Grisby. I like him a lot. I think he's really good, and I think that there's something there that they can build off of.
I definitely think so. I definitely think that they can compete. I don't see them getting blown out. I definitely know, like, they're one of the teams where you just can't roll up in there and just be like, oh, we're gonna get this dub and we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah, they're gonna be a tough out.
You're gonna walk in, it's gonna be a dogfight, and that's just what it's gonna be. And you can either take it or you can just sit up there and get rolled over on. Like, for 3 quarters, SMU got rolled over on.
They really did.
They were up. Nevada was up by 10. For a long period of time.
I looked like they were going to pull it off.
Yeah. So again, props to them. SMU for pulling the comeback. Love to see it. And yeah.
All right. Well, Tim, we're like 30 minutes into the show and we still haven't paid any bills. So let's do that real quick. FanBattleSports.com, where you can get the latest and greatest on the Tennessee Titans, the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, and the whoever's in the division, Jacksonville Jaguars. FanBattleSports.com. Season starts next week.
Yes, sir.
Sign up. Don't sign up. Meet us there. Check out previous episodes. Check out our latest articles from all the guys. And then next week we might be talking about a couple of other things that might be going on for the Colts podcast. So sit tight for that. In the meantime, FanBattleSports.com. Also on Twitter at LHFanBattle. We are having issues with the Twitter feed. Elon, like we said at the beginning of the episode, doesn't know how to code anything, so he broke his own website. So we were not able to stream to Twitter for whatever reason. Follow us on YouTube, Longhorn Fan Battle. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. Road to 100 is now. I'm not going to put a timeline on it, but we'd like to get there as soon as possible. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your aunts, tell your uncles. Longhorn Fan Battle on YouTube. All right, Tim. So tomorrow morning, big one. We had a great weekend in recruiting last weekend.
Yes.
An excellent weekend. Probably the most excited I've been in recruiting all week.
Yep.
Obviously now Nick Brooks on Friday, get the 4-star guy, and then Jonah Williams commits on Saturday. That was massive for this class, for this Texas program.
Yeah.
Who just seemingly didn't have any recruiting momentum at all. And so now it looks like momentum is starting to pick up. So we've got Jamie French tomorrow. All intents and purposes, he should be committing to Texas, but we know LSU's out there. We know Miami's out there. And I think it's between those three. I don't really think there's anybody else out there. So 7:20 tomorrow morning. It might go a little bit delayed. So expect for that to happen. Obviously, school, got to get everything ready. Got to all that stuff is happening as well. It's also Friday night, so it's game day for them. So I'm sure there might be some delays. Announcement is supposed to happen at 7:20 tomorrow morning. Of course, you can always tune into us on Twitter, on TikTok. We will post as soon as we have something there. But tomorrow morning, 7:20, Jamie French. And that will hold recruiting until probably maybe around December or so.
Right.
So we
don't have anybody making any more announcements, right?
No, I don't. Well, unless somebody decides to make an announcement during the season, it's not often that happens.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of shut it down. School's in session. They're trying to play games.
Their season's in session. Yeah. So,
right.
But we, on the recruiting note, one more thing I do want to throw out there, and this has kind of been rumored for a little bit. Remember. We talked about flips. We talked about, that type of year that's going to be. Two guys to keep an eye out for. Myron Charles is rumored to be flipping to Texas. We don't know when. Not sure where, but he's currently an Florida State commit. Javen Hilson is another guy to keep an eye out for because those two guys are kind of like pretty close. So Javen Hilson obviously picked Florida State over Texas earlier in the summer. Does he flip as well? That would be crazy if he did. But Myron Charles is definitely on full out flip watch from what we're reading. So I'd keep it. I don't know if it's something he just like surprisingly does tomorrow. I don't know if it's something he does during the season, but I would expect news to continue to trickle down on Myron Charles. And the number one outside linebacker in the entire nation is definitely on flip watch. Nathaniel Owusu, they call him Woo Boateng, who actually is currently uncommitted. He has not committed to anybody, but he's visited. Listen, this guy is the number one linebacker in the class. Yeah. He visited everyone, right? So he's visited. Obviously, he's got a visit here, Texas, Georgia weekend, October 19th. But over the summer, he visited Michigan. He visited Ohio State, visited Notre Dame, USC. He's trying to get an Alabama visit in there. I don't think he will. But I think, he's visited those schools, and Texas kind of snuck in there, right? 5-star linebacker. This would be a massive ad. Imagine this guy and Anthony Hill next year. Oh, my gosh. Like this, if you haven't seen any film on this guy, you talk about motors at the Mike position or the outside linebackers, man. Oh, my God. It would do wonders for this defense at that level.
Listen, this is the thing that Sark needs. This is the thing that's kind of been hindering him. He's like, hey, we know that you can get these big-time offensive guys. We know you can get the linemen. We know you can get the receivers. We know you can get the transfer receivers. We know you can get the quarterbacks. We know you can get the running backs. Can you get some defensive schemes? Like, can you get some defensive players that can fit your scheme? That has been probably the most annoying thing that has been around since, I don't know, man. I look back and I think about like what was like recruiting number wise, like who was like a really big get.
Yeah.
I think like maybe Jackson Jeffcoat, like back in 2010, or maybe like Sergio Kindle. And I'm talking about rankings. Like these
It
guys
was
are ranked.
after Jackson Jeffcoat. Well, no, because Jackson Jeffcoat was the number one defensive lineman in the class.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that
High
type of
profile
player,
guys.
the high profile guy. Can you get the high profile guy that could possibly make an immediate impact on your team as soon as he gets on campus? Are you able to get that guy? And he's Sark has gotten some guys in the past, during the stops that he's been at. I think about Vita, was Vita there when Sark was there? Was that a Vita
Who?
Vita Vea?
At Oregon? Vita Vea went to Oregon.
He didn't go to Washington?
No, did he?
Vita Vea went to Washington.
Oh, did he really? I thought he went to Oregon. Oh, no. I'm thinking about Haloti Ngata.
Yeah, Haloti Ngata went to Michigan. I mean, Oregon.
Yeah, no, you're right. Oh, let's see. 2000. This is post. This is
okay.
I think Sark may have recruited him.
Okay, so but yeah, the main point is like we know what you can do on offense. Can you do the same thing on defense? That's the most important thing of all of this. Yeah. And so with that being said, like this is a really, really big get. And again, I believe this is one of those type of recruits where if you are able to get this guy to commit to your school and say, hey, I'm coming to the University of Texas, I think other defensive players will actually look as well, seeing that guy, the it guy, if that guy's going to go there and I'm cool with that guy or I want to play with that guy. So, like, that's what I'm hoping comes along with that. Just kind of like the Arch Manning situation. Like, you get Arch in, you start getting other guys that are starting to look. You start looking, guys are starting to take more visits than normal. They didn't have you on their schedule. Now they do all of a sudden. That's what I'm looking for. I'm hoping that that's what happens with that.
Yeah, and I think I hope so too. Again, I know we like I wouldn't say we panicked. There were some concerns during the summer of like recruiting momentum and things that are happening with the program. I still think those things are valid. I don't think they're invalid.
Right.
But I think Sark is able to pull us out of this hole, regardless of anything that's happening. I still think some of the stuff that's happening inside the program needs to be looked at because we shouldn't be losing the guys that we are losing.
Right.
Especially if we were leading for a lot of the recruitments that we're speaking of, DeCorian Moore, we were leading for much of that recruitment.
Right.
You really think about it over the last 8 months or so, Michael Fasusi, we were really leading for much of that recruitment, right? And look, it could be very like Michael Fasusi could have very well left for playing time. But to tell me that you couldn't convince that man to stay or that young man to stay blows my mind, honestly.
Absolutely. It still stings. I think with the recruits that we picked up over the weekend, especially getting Jonah, like that was like a very, very good get. That was a very, very good get. Because again, like one of the things that was like a knock was like, hey, like you guys are kind of thin at linebacker. And, Jonah is a safety for sure, but he can also play in between. He's 6'3", 210, 215. What he reminds me? He kind of reminds me of like a Taylor Mays or maybe a Cam Chancellor type guy where he could literally like he's big enough and solid enough that he could do both. So I don't know. I'm really excited though. I'm hoping for the best. I'm always welcome to a flip. I don't think that we can flip I don't think we can flip everybody though. That's not my thing. I really hope that we don't get into the mindset of that we could just flip anybody. That like, and I know that's I know it's a thing that Texas has done in the past very, very well. They've been known to flip a lot of players. However, I don't want to go through that. I want to see those guys being like, hey, listen, I want to go to the University of Texas outright. I don't want them to have to play catch up because eventually genuinely, that's what they're doing, right? One guy commits, goes to another school. They're still playing catch up, not knocking these guys because whatever they're doing to get them to flip, it's worked very, very well. But yeah, let's try to not do that. Let's build out ahead. Let's get these guys to commit. Let's get these guys to commit early so that we don't have to do this because I know it's coming. I know it's coming. There's gonna be some guys that flip from somewhere else to Texas or whatever the case may be. I know it's coming, but you can't do that for every single guy that you don't get.
Yeah. Listen, I know we don't like it. Sark loves it, man. He loves to see this whole thing go haywire. So he's going to do what he does, and you know it's working for him. So all respect to him. But we'll continue to keep you guys upgraded on recruiting. We got to get to the most important thing.
Yep.
Colorado State game week. It's finally here. We're going to spend a little bit of time, probably about 5 or 10 minutes, talking about this. We've got to finish the show out with our season-ending predictions, which I've got on paper. I did not do a fancy bracket like Tim, but you know what? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take my 12 teams and eyeball put them into Tim's little graphic here, and then I'm going to tell you what my national championship is going to be. So. So, Tim, we've talked about it a little bit already. There's a couple guys that we need to watch inside of this game. And before actually, what are your immediate thoughts when you think about this team? This team, what are you hoping to see?
I'm hoping to see them establish a run. I want to see what, again, this is a new receiving core, where you have not a bunch of new receivers, but you've got enough new receivers. I need to see what that's like. I need to see just overall fluidity. Like how are you guys? Have you guys gelled over the summer? Have you learned tendencies as a quarterback? Have you learned tendencies as a wide receiver where your quarterback likes to put the ball on certain routes? Where are you familiar with the cadences? You know, that was a thing for quite a few other quarterbacks back in the day where they didn't understand cadences. There was a lot of false starts. I don't know if you remember that, but it seemed like a couple of years ago, even before Big Sam Ellinger got there was an issue with cadences and false starts and people being not disciplined. So I want to see a clean ball game. I want to see see people get out of there injury free. Okay. If we build a big enough lead, are you going to get the guys in there, the secondary guys in there, so that they can build up, get some game reps? Maybe we see Arch. I don't necessarily know.
But if that gets get in, we're seeing Arch.
That's my thing. I'm hoping that. Well, what I have predicted is a pretty big lead. So
I'm kind of thinking the same thing.
I'm predicting a pretty big lead. I'm thinking that it's close, like maybe a quarter and a half, and then I believe Texas eventually pulls away. So that's what I'm hoping for. I just want a clean game. I want to see no mistake-free football is what I want to see. Yep. If you're running mistake-free football, that means you're doing your job. That means you're getting off your tackles. That you're getting off your blocks. You're getting to the secondary, the second level. Receivers are running the routes they need to run. Balls are being caught. Just run a clean game. It's gonna be again. I say this every year. This game is going to be very, very, very vanilla.
Yeah.
Nothing is coming out until next week, until we see Michigan. Then you're going to see these crazy formations. You're going to see a bunch of men. You're going to see a bunch of motion. You're going to see a lot of shifts on offense and defense. You're going to see very bland packages right now in this game. So just be ready for that. It's not going to be. You're not going to see what they're running, what they ran against Alabama. You're not going to see that. So just be prepared.
Yeah, it's gonna be very a boring football game, if you will, right? It's gonna be very easy. It's gonna be like, can you hand the ball off? Can you get off your blocks?
Right.
Can you explode to the holes? Can you read the holes? Can you see? Can you throw the deep ball? Like everything is very basic, right?
Right.
But with basic comes, being, and I think this team is very well prepared. I do not expect this from a start. Like I don't expect this team to like be in a close game. Like,
I sure hope
I
not.
think I think I am confident enough in Steve Sarkisian at this point to not think that we need to be like, man, this is going to be a barn burner. I think this is going to be a blowout. I think Texas wins this game comfortably. I think we're going to see a lot of Arch. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a whole half of Arch. I think by halftime this game's going to be in control.
Do you have? Okay, so let's go ahead and get a score prediction, and then we can move on. What do you have score wise?
I have like 56 to 10.
Okay, I had Texas like 52-21.
Okay, so we're not too far off.
No, we're not far off.
There are a couple of guys we have to look out for.
Okay,
and number one is their wide receiver Torrey Horton. This guy.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Crazy good. This guy is really good. He had 8 touchdowns last year, 94. He averaged 95 receiving yards a game, which is a lot in college. Yeah. Averaging that much is quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Their quarterback, Braden Nicolosi, Fowler, whatever the hell his name is.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Nicolosi,
I think.
Nicolosi.
We'll hear on the broadcast, so we'll probably say it wrong. Hey, Braden, I'm sorry we said your name wrong. Don't
for real. Don't fault us, dog.
Yeah. 62% completion percentage. He had 34 touchdowns last year. So these guys are no slouches, right? Like they're good. This team beat Colorado last year, right? And like this Shedeur Sand, like they beat that Colorado team in overtime, and that was a very good game. And these guys played very well. So this is gonna be a great. This is 2 things that I want to see. How disciplined are our safeties this year? How disciplined is the secondary this year, right?
Right.
Has the coaching changed? And we know what we're talking about. Are we still looking at the quarterback? Or are we actually playing corner? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
So I'd be very interested to see that. And I think if we do those things, we win this game pretty comfortably. I still think we're going to give up a lot of yards because that's just the nature of the zone defense.
Right.
But I'm hoping that doesn't turn into a lot of points.
Yeah. I also want to see how Texas on the defensive side does against the run. Now, Colorado, they're not big dogs when it comes to running. I think their running back. I'm not looking, so I don't know. But I want to say their running back. I forget his name, but he didn't have over 400 yards rushing on the entire season. I don't think their running back room as a staff together had over 1,100 yards rushing. If they did,
it's a very pass heavy team.
Right. Okay. So
very pass heavy.
Let's see if they can stop the run. Let's see what happens, right? Again, Trey Moore. Let's see how you do, dog. If they're going to continue to pass the ball, let's see what happens. Let's see how Trey Moore looks in the passing realm. I want to see Anthony Hill Jr. flying around. Like I just want to see mistake-free football. I want to see these guys get in and get out of there. Not hurt, not banged up, and just ready to roll. But of course, you don't want to look ahead to next week. That's why I say you have to play mistake-free ball. That's the only way that you're going to be able to get through to next week is by doing what you're supposed to do, basically doing your job and winning those battles.
No, I'm right there with you. I completely agree. So we'll see what happens there. 56-10 is what I've got. I think you said 56-17 or 10.
I have 52-21.
50-21. I have 56-10. So we'll see how things go. I think we'll be okay. But we'll check it out. All right, Tim. So let's wrap it up here. We got 20 minutes. I think we got plenty of time. We did good on timing today, which is not something we we normally do. We're both big talkers, so I think we did a fantastic job. I'm gonna pull up your sheet. All right, do you have your sheet finished?
Oh, you need my my final?
Hold on, I can pull it up. I didn't realize you filled out the whole thing. Oh, here we go. Playoff predictions. Oh, you did fill out the whole thing, so we can kind of go from here. Hold on. I got it. And then I'm going to use your sheet to kind of show you where I put mine. So This is what you had for your bracket. So I'm going to start, at the top and go down, and you can kind of fill it out from there.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
For me?
Yeah. So for Tulane, Notre Dame, who do you have moving on?
I have Notre Dame moving on.
Okay. And then OU, Alabama in a rematch.
Yeah, I have OU, Alabama in a rematch. I have Oklahoma losing to Alabama in a big way. I think they get blown out because they'll be at Alabama. I think they get blown out. Yeah, they're good because remember, all of these games are at home now. Like these are at home. Tulane's going to be in the snow at Notre Dame. Alabama, that's gonna in the middle of December. That's gonna be rough. Oregon, Ohio State, or I'm sorry, Miami at Oregon, same type of situation. That's not working out in their best interest.
Yeah, that's not a great matchup for Oregon.
That's not somewhere you want to be in the middle of December. So I got Oregon moving on, and of course I've got Georgia actually moving on as well, beating Penn State. Good for Penn State for getting in there for the first year. I just hate the fact that they ended up playing against Georgia, but hey, that's what ends up happening. From there, I got Notre Dame losing to Clemson, going in to the semifinal. I think that they're just too young and they're inexperienced yet for that big game. The reason why I think they beat Notre Dame as well is because I do believe that this is the year where if something doesn't happen for Clemson, I think Dabo might end up being gone. Because they're simply not adapting. But they're still formidable on defense. And I don't necessarily know how Cade Klubnik is going to be. But again, just me looking at their schedule and looking at the roster, they're not slouches. They're not terrible. Now, did they have some hiccups last year? But they still could have made it into that playoff had they won the division.
Yep.
And I think the way that Florida State proves my fact that I think that they are the most talented team in the division currently. I have them losing to Ohio State. Again, Ohio State just has all the weapons and all their, that's at the Rose Bowl. They're familiar with that. That's going to be a home game for Ohio State to me. So, Ohio State moves on. Then Oregon versus Kansas. I got Oregon moving on, beating Kansas. Kansas just not enough firepower to keep up with Oregon. And then they go from there. This is where it gets pretty iffy. I had these two split. Okay. I had Georgia beating Texas in the head-to-head match. And the only reason why I had them beating them in the head-to-head match is because I just didn't see Georgia beating Texas twice. I just couldn't. There something in me just couldn't allow that to happen. I don't know if it's me being a homer. Like, I knew that they could potentially see each other again in the college football playoff, and I think Texas gets them again. So
you have Georgia beating Texas or Texas beating Georgia twice,
right?
Oh wow, okay.
I got Texas beating Georgia. I got Texas beating Georgia twice. Maybe not a barn burner, but something very close. Maybe a game to squeak out. And then I got Texas beating Oregon because Oregon, they've got the firepower. I think Jaden Blue will be able to get his yards. I don't necessarily think that this defense is going to be equipped to handle a running or a stable of running backs. I think these other guys like Trey and Wisner, they get their legs together and they're able to run the ball effectively against Oregon. And then I got Ohio State marching on. Ohio State marches on. They beat Clemson again. They're just too talented. And with that being said, you have Texas versus Ohio State in the national championship, and I have Texas losing to Ohio State. I just think Ohio State, even though they're familiar with Will Howard now has weapons, and he has a lot of them. And so, with that being said, I just don't see them being able to get. I'm not saying that it's going to be a blowout. I can easily see 30-27, 30-21, 30-24. I think whoever
scoring.
Huh?
You think it's going to be low scoring?
Yeah, I think it's going to be low scoring. I think the first person to get to 30 and whoever makes the first mistake ends up really losing that game.
Okay.
So I have Ohio State as your national champion, unfortunately.
This is how I have this rolling, okay? All right.
Okay.
All right. So my number 1 seed I have is Oregon. I think Oregon's going to win the Big Ten.
Okay.
I think Ohio State. I think Oregon is better than Ohio State. I think they have more weapons, and I trust Dylan Gabriel more than I trust Will Howard to use those weapons. I also trust Dan Lanning more than I trust Ryan Day. I don't trust Ryan Day further than I can throw a rock, and it's not very far. I don't trust Ryan Day at all. So I have Oregon being the number 1 seed. My number 2 seed is Texas. I think we both agree there. I think Georgia beats Texas in the regular season, and I think Texas beats Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Okay.
I do think these are the 2 best teams in the SEC.
Right.
And I think that'll play out. Unless Alabama beats Georgia in the regular season. Then I see Texas, Alabama in the SEC championship game.
That's fair.
My 3 seed, I have Miami. I think Miami is winning the ACC.
Okay.
I don't trust Cade Klubnik. I don't know how good he's going to be, but I do trust Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's season last year is misinterpreted by how bad his team was, and I think he is that guy that Cristobal needs to take that next step.
Okay.
And the ACC is wide open. I think the Big 12 is the hardest conference.
The ACC is so wide open this year.
Yeah, it's so the Big 12.
Yeah.
And I think the Big 12 is stacked top to bottom. And I think the removal of Texas and Oklahoma makes it even more stacked.
Right. Do you think that there's a possibility that do you think that there's a possibility that the Big 12 might be, outside of the SEC, the most entertaining conference?
Yes.
Because of all of the new.
No. I think it's one of the most. I don't think it's like I still think the Big Ten is going to be entertaining.
Okay.
Ohio State versus Oregon, USC versus Washington. I think there's so many good matchups in the Big Ten this year. Penn State is a team that nobody's really talking about. That you've got them slotted as a 10 seed. I have them slotted as a 9 seed.
Well, dude, the only reason why I have them as a 10 seed is because it's not because they didn't win. It's because they lose late in the season. Yeah. It's like
same teams.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page there, but that's still also a very good team. If they can figure things out. So you're my 4 seed, my Big 12 champion. You're gonna be like, what the hell?
Utah.
Arizona.
I'm not mad at it.
I personally think Noah Fifita is the best quarterback in the Big 12.
All right. Listen.
And their wide receiver, Tutoria, that's the best wide receiver in that conference.
Better than Travis Hunter?
Outside of Travis Hunter.
What about Joe Horn?
What about him?
He's really good.
I think he's better than Joe Horn.
All right.
Tutoria McMillan is better than Joe Horn. It's not even close.
I'm not even bro. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Listen, I
think that's a more deadlier combo than Shedeur and Travis, personally, because I think Noah Fifita is better than Shedeur.
All right.
So I'm taking Arizona. I'm riding and when they went head to head, Noah Fifita absolutely destroyed Shooter head to head last year.
Okay.
So I'm taking and I really like their schedule. They don't have a lot of tough games to play.
Right.
So I think the schedule really favored them as well.
Okay.
My 5 seed's Georgia. I think the SEC runner-up is going to be the 5 seed.
Right.
My 6 seed is Ohio State. My 7 seed is Ole Miss. My 8 seed is Utah.
Okay.
9 is Penn State. 10 Notre Dame.
Okay.
11 Kansas State.
Oh, listen.
And my 12 is Boise.
Kansas State. I think they're
Avery
dark
Johnson,
horse. They're a dark
Avery
horse.
Johnson and Dylan Edwards, I think, is going to be crazy.
Right. Right.
So from there, I have Georgia beating Boise State very, very easily. Right. So that's the 5-12 matchup. The 8-9 matchup, I have and so Boise State would play the 4 seed.
Okay.
So Georgia would play the 4 seed, right? Hold on, I'm trying to look at yours and do mine at the same time. So Georgia would play the 4 seed, which I had as Arizona. Then in my next matchup, the 8-9 matchup, I have Utah beating Penn State.
Okay.
I think Cam Rising finally stays healthy. If he could stay healthy the entire season, I think Utah can win the Big 12.
That was okay. So that was a main thing for me. Is like, when does Cam Rising go down? If Cam Rising goes down, it's like, what do we do? What do we do as a team?
Yep.
Like, because Utah's really good.
Very good.
Last year that was my team. That's who I wanted in the playoff. That was my number 4 seed is Utah. But Cam Rising goes down, they lose a couple of games, and then next thing you know, they're not in it.
Yep.
And they had a pretty good season last year up to that point to where Cam Rising got hurt, and Cam Rising is back for his 7th year.
Something like that, bro. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And then so I have Utah there at number 8, right? Penn State number 9, Notre Dame 10, Kansas State 11. Okay. So I have Georgia beating Boise State, so they'll go on to play Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I have Utah beating Penn State, so they'll go on to play Oregon. I have Ohio State beating Kansas State in a very close game. That's going to be a crazy game, right? It's going to be Will Howard versus Avery Johnson and Kansas State. That's the drama, bro. That's the stuff I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And then they'll go up
that
against
Kansas State-Kansas game is going to be amazing.
Yeah. That Ohio State Miami matchup is going to be very fun in the quarterfinal.
Yeah. And
then I have Ole Miss beating Notre Dame, setting up the Nick Saban Bowl.
Jackson Dart
versus Quinn Ewers, Lane Kiffin versus Steve Sarkisian, and the college football quarterfinals, baby. Oh, that's going to be awesome. So I've got that set up. I have Georgia beating Arizona.
Okay.
And then I have Oregon beating Utah in a very close game. Ohio State beats I'm going to be fun. I don't want to be boring. Miami beats Ohio State.
Ooh.
And then Texas beats Ole Miss because I think Texas's defense is better than Ole Miss's defense.
Okay.
And then the national championship is going to be Georgia versus Texas.
Who wins?
Cement his name and legacy, baby. Texas winning the whole thing.
Woo!
Quinn Ewers, I told you guys, I've said it all offseason for 8 months straight. Year 3 quarterbacks in Steve Sarkisian systems are stupid. They're absolutely ridiculous. And this is the best third-year quarterback he has ever had to work with, who's actually been here, who's worked as the starter. Not only the thing about like a Matt Jones, right, or a Tua Tagovailoa, they've been in the system for 3 years.
Right.
Ewers has not only been in the system for 3 years, he's been the starter for 3 years.
Right.
So it's very different. If Quinn Ewers stays healthy, I really believe. I think Steve Sarkisian gets 2 titles in the next 3 years. One with Quinn this year, and either next year or the year after, he gets one with Arch before Arch goes to the NFL. It is time for Stark to steal his legacy. It is our time to start our dynasty. Texas wins the national championship this year.
Boy.
That's it.
Hey, listen, I'm all for this. I'm all for this. If Texas wins the national championship, I can think about my freshman year in college. I was in Houston, and I got to see the Big 12 championship where Texas beat up on that
Colorado?
that Joel Klatt led Colorado, where Henry Melton ran for 100 plus yards and a half because everybody got to sit down. And that's where you get the picture with Vince Young with the rose in his mouth.
Yep.
And then the picture of Vince Young standing, because this, again, a lot of people forget, like, he's also from Houston. So this was like his return home. And so he's like holding the rose in the air, on standing on the bleachers.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. But yeah, I'm hoping. Listen, man, I'd love to go downtown after the Longhorns have won a national championship. I have no problem doing it. If they win, I would love to go down there and see that tower get lit up orange with the number 1 coming down the middle. I'd love that.
This year or next year. This year, it's gonna happen twice, so you better get prepared because we might be doing it a couple times.
Hey, man, I'm all for it.
On this, I do think Texas wins the national title. If we're talking about taking steps is you. They were 5-7. They were terrible in year 1. You got to 8-4 last year. Got to the college football playoff. You no longer have to hear from anybody about Steve Sarkisian. He can't win 10 games. You've gotten over that hump. You got your first conference title. You got to the college football playoff. I think Steve Sarkisian as a coach is hungry. I think the way he speaks, the way he talks, the way he moves, the way he acts. Listen.
Everything says
ex-wife. He not married no more. Like, he is moving in a direction of like greatness. And there's some guy, and he always tweets out stuff about Mamba mentality. Like, he is in a different frame of mind, and he has put his players in the same frame of mind that he has. And when you hear guys like Jaden Blue, who was like a 4th string running back, who might have been a 2nd string running back this year, already being a guy that guys in the locker room are looking up to from a leadership perspective, you built a culture. And you put it all on the line this year and prove to everybody this culture is here to stay. And I'm a big believer in Sark now. So that's it for us. That was a wild one. I told you guys I was gonna take you on a wild ride. I had a lot of crazy picks in there. If none of this happens, it's okay because it's also fantasy world anyway. Miami getting all the way to the college football playoff semifinals is not anything anybody sees, but I also really like Cam Ward. And I think Cristobal has always been a quarterback away. So
we got 2 minutes left. I got one question for you quickly. Give me 2 bold predictions that will happen in the college football playoff or in college football in general this year.
Ooh, bold prediction. Well, I already gave you one. Arizona's winning the Big 12.
Okay.
Right. I think number 2, there will be at least 2 wide receivers in the Heisman in the Heisman finalist list by year's end.
Okay.
So it's not just gonna be quarterbacks. There's gonna be some receivers this year. There's gonna be, and I think one of them is Evan Stewart.
Oh, jeez. Evan Stewart, huh?
Yep. There's just guys I really like, man, and I'm gonna have a blast watching. Dude, if you look, like, Dylan Gabriel made like okay receivers look really good.
Right.
Now he's got two like studs.
Okay.
And Evan Stewart is one of those studs.
Okay.
And he's always going to be on his left sides, which means he's always on his strong side.
Right. Okay. I have two. Very quickly. I don't think that Quinn Ewers wins the Heisman. I think he does win the best quarterback. I can't remember the name of the
award. Okay.
Right.
You think he gets there?
Yeah, I think he gets there. I think he's a finalist. I just don't think he wins it.
I don't think. Okay. Is that a bold prediction though?
Huh?
Is that a bold prediction?
No, because some people have Quinn. A lot of people have Quinn.
Oh, he is a Heisman front runner. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah. And then I think Billy Napier gets fired in the middle of that season. I think Billy Napier gets let go. I looked at this.
They're going to lose this weekend. I have Miami beating Florida.
I have Miami torching them. I just don't see Florida losing to them. I mean, I don't see Miami losing to them at all. I get it is a rivalry game.
Who replaces them?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they knock on Tashard Choice's door. They'd be like, hey,
really?
Yeah, I've heard too much about Tashard Choice getting like a lot of love, dog. It's getting to that point to where like we might lose. We're gonna lose Tashard Choice.
He's gonna at least move up to an OC at a small school. I don't think he moves up to something like that. I wonder who would go there to Florida. I'd have to think about that. I think I'm gonna think about that. I don't know who would be.
Like don't be surprised if you see Jimbo. There have been rumblings about Jimbo taking on a car.
Yeah, I guess.
There's been rumblings. Listen, I'm not. Hey, he could do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he could.
So yeah. Well, it's about 7:00.
Where can people find you real quick? 30 seconds go.
Listen, y'all can find me at Twitter. I'm gonna post my college football playoff schedule on there as soon as the show is over. I'm also gonna go ahead and post that on TikTok. So let me know what you guys think. I'm ready for football. I'm hoping that Texas can get in here and handle business and move on and get ready for next week's game against Michigan at the Big House. So we're not jumping over these guys because we don't want to do that. But I'm just hoping for a clean game and get it over with. Knock them out, kick them in the teeth early.
Yeah. You can find me at the Uncle Gandhi. Let's talk about anything. You can also find me on Longhorn Fan Battle. I'm the one that talks the most shit. So if you don't like it, I don't care. But anyway, my name is Harish. That's my guy, Tim Wayne. We out of here. Peace.
Peace. Till Gabriel.
Go home, touchdown like an end zone.